remind ourselves of this, and as you gather here as Cosatu to then say, what is your role? Now, let me also move on to the next issue quickly, which is a message from the South African Communist Party president. Coming out of our May 2018 Central Committee, the SACP warned against what we saw as an emerging fight-back campaign to undermine the fight against state capture and corruption. Sayisho lento wengane zakwethu abanye bethu baze besatshiswa kwathiwa sizonisho ukuthi benenzani ngoba naku sesithe there is a fight-back campaign. We want to say we are not going to be intimidated whatsoever about what we say. We are convinced as the Communist Party that we were recently on the eve of becoming a mafia state. We don't want to hide that. And the working class has a responsibility. You struggled for this democratic South Africa that we have. You have a duty to defend it from all forms of regressive and problematic tendencies that are threatening to steal our revolution from ourselves. We even pointed out as the SACP where we think this fight-back campaign is coming out from. We are therefore not surprised at all about talks now of political plots, as we had already warned about this. So I inject in the makomansi. Now, this fight-back campaign, unfortunately, has also been accompanied by some of the most regressive and reactionary tendencies that should not be allowed to find space in our movement, like tribalism, black chauvinism, and racist slurs. One of the most dangerous, and this is where the working class has a responsibility, President, one of the most dangerous things is actually to wage a fight-back campaign against protecting our state in the name of radical economic transformation. We must reject that. We must give content to what we mean by radical economic transformation, not as a shorthand to defend the corporate capture of the state. Now, this fight-back campaign, we want the SACP analyzed this in May. It's not solely just directed at the President of the ANC and the President of the Republic, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa. It may as well be directed at that, but it's actually directed at the working class and the poor. And it's directed against all South Africans who want to try and rescue this country from some of the darkest forces that were trying to steal it. It's directed at all those who want the ANC to cleanse and renew itself from the dark days that it had actually found itself. It's an attack on that, this fight back. That's why those who are waging the fight back must be isolated by all South Africans who want progress and for all of us to move forward. That's why, as the SACP, we are also calling for the building of a broader patriotic front to, amongst other things, defend the gains we have made in what we can call the first phase of our national democratic revolution since 1994. What are we talking about when we're talking about the first phase and the gains? Comrades, one of the key gains of the first phase of our democratic revolution was to dislodge the apartheid regime from power, was to have a democratic constitution, was to have the Labor Relations Act, the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, and the right to form and join a trade union. We laid a basis for dealing with gender inequality and to fight against the oppression of women who have laws today and institutions, those were part of the gains of our first phase of the National Democratic Revolution. We can't drive a second phase of the National Democratic Revolution if we allow those gains to be undermined. Those who are fighting back, who are plotting, they are in essence plotting to destroy the gains that we have made during the first phase of our National Democratic Revolution. Asiyipolitikele le nto, my comrades, and characterize it properly for what it is. That is the message we'd like to bring to this important Congress of this federation. Now, we want to say to our ally, the ANC, I know we're saying this, Comrade President and the delegates, we sometimes get accused of singeni indaba zabanye abantu. When we talk about the ANC as ngeni indaba zabanye abantu, sikhuluma ngekhaya lethu sonke. The ANC belongs to all of us. It does not only belong to those special people who may happen to be holding leadership positions in the ANC at whatever level. Umbutho wethu lo, it's a people's movement. We want to say to the ANC, don't just allow this thing to go unattended. We're going to raise this matter of plots at the next alliance meeting. Because this thing, as we say, is not only a threat to the ANC, it's a threat to our revolution as a whole. And it must be discussed and it must be dealt with. We must go to the bottom of it. That is the position of the SACP, for the sake of our revolution and for the sake of our future. The next message, President, is on a very important matter that we would like this Congress to reflect upon: the necessity to reconfigure the functioning of our alliance and the role of the working class in this alliance. You know, as the South African Communist Party, we have been reflecting, Comrade Soli, one of the biggest mistakes we have made as the SACP over the years is not to publish our political reports to the Central Committee. And we must publish all of them since 1994, so that we share with the working class and the rest of our country what are the things that we discuss and why sometimes do we come up with particular positions. And we are often correct. Asithakathi sama komanisi. Siya analyze. Makuthiwa ukuthakatha kwethu ngikuphi? I-analysis. Ikona kuthakatha kwethu ke lokho. And we come out characterizing things as they are because we've analyzed them. We have said this alliance of ours is very important. Going forward, we need this alliance. But at the same time, we have said the manner it is actually functioning is now outdated. It needs to be changed. We took a decision in 1994 as the SACP and as the alliance. We're going to contest the elections through the ANC. The ANC is going to lead the elections. But what has unfortunately happened in the process, the election and the governance of the country has now, in some instances, been defined as the exclusive responsibility of the African National Congress and not the alliance. And we are saying that is wrong. We are saying that is wrong. We must reconfigure the alliance to reflect the fact that it's an alliance, yes, led by the African National Congress, but it can't be that major decisions will only be made by the ANC by virtue of the fact that it leads the alliance. That is incorrect. We are not saying this as we are accused ukuthi ngoba sifune ikhundla. Asincenge ikhundla wengane zakwethu. Thina sasike saxoshwa sikhombisa kona ukuthi asincenge ikhundla. We will speak the truth because we are not in the movement because we want positions. We are here for the sake of the workers and the poor of our country. We love the ANC. The ANC itself, it's in its own deepest interest to ensure that its allies have got continued confidence in it as the governing party in this country. And therefore, we need a reconfigured alliance. Certain wrong things have said, and we've been expected to go along with them. Kushintsha amacabinet ngomnyama ngo-12 ebusuku. And we are expected to say, yes, thank you very much. We actually support that, irrespective of what is actually happening. Gatekeeping. Kuthi uma ugqoke isikipha esibovu, you do not deserve to participate in particular meetings. We have allowed these things to happen in the name of the alliance. Now it's beginning to eat the ANC itself. This gatekeeping and all these other problems. You know, President, one of the main things that I think we've somehow dropped the ball between the SACP and the Cosatu is political education. One of the things we want to say, coming out of this Congress, we need to deepen the political education. I'll tell you why, one of the reasons. You know, factionalists and gatekeepers, they hate political education because they don't want members who have a political understanding because they will be able to manipulate them easily. Fanele ube nabasebenzi nama-members angahablile ukuze ukwazi ukuba-manipulate ubatshela ukuthi abaye le instead ukuthi kiwe le. Political education is even very important just for that, not only for that. That is why we cannot drop the ball. Part of driving the second phase of the National Democratic Revolution is to have political education. Now, what do we mean by a reconfigured alliance? It's simple. We need an alliance that does not only work together when it's election time. It must be taking up issues of our people at all times. The reason why we see some of the things we see with protests in communities today is because we are absent as the alliance. Let's speak the truth. It can't be that a community wants a library, then it's going to destroy a clinic. That's not progress. It's not moving forward. Why are those things happening in our own communities? I also want to give a challenge. Western Cape Benson there. I was saying this. Ngideployiwe kuthiwa nguMinister of Transport ngizobuyela kule nto njani. Ngiya eWestern Cape ngihlangana ne-Alliance President. Ngithi ubani oshisa itimela eCape Town? I-Alliance ithi ayazi. I got worried. I must say this. Who is our intelligence if our alliance structures are not our intelligence? If they don't know who is banning the trains and who is benefiting from banning the trains which are carrying the working class every day. Now, we are saying, therefore, a reconfigured alliance must be with the people all the time. It can't just be going to the people when it's election time. There must be serious consultation amongst ourselves and to agree on key issues that we need to agree upon in order to be able to move forward. Yes, deployment, we have an interest, not because we want positions, but we have an interest. Who are these people given responsibilities to exercise state power? We have an interest in that. You can't tell us what we can't have an interest on who exercises state power. We do have an interest because Tinaga, as the SACP, we are not a non-governmental organization. We're a political party with the deepest interest in state power and how it is exercised. So should Cosatu have an interest in that, if we are to be able to move forward. Now, a And the reconfiguration of the alliance must happen at all levels. We want to speak the truth, and we want you to debate this. We went to our Congress here party last year. I haven't seen our delegates at SACP so angry in a long time. They said, reconfigure the alliance, otherwise we contest the election separately and independently. Because the way we've been treated on the ground has just been completely unacceptable. Now, we say to comrades, no, don't be driven by anger. They say, tell us the options. What are the alternatives? Now, we have then said, if we are able to move forward, it's in the interest of the alliance as a whole that we reconfigure ourselves and move together towards the next election, operating differently than in the manner that we've not been. We want Cosatu to support us on this. Because it's not just an SACP matter. Now, Comrade President, let me raise the last set of issues. The SACP has come to you here today, and thanks for the invitation and the platform, which we must not abuse, to say we want to make a call for the working class to embark on action. No one is going to listen to you if we are weak on the ground. If Cosatu is weak and has no strength, no one is going to take you seriously. We are concerned as the SACP. We are glad that you're open about it. We have lost members. We are not as strong as perhaps you were 10, 15 years ago. That's a correct admission so that we are able to address those problems. But action is important. What is this action that we want to suggest some of it to you today? We took a resolution at our August Central Committee this year, and we said we're going to go to Cosatu and engage Cosatu and engage SANCO, engage our allies, even engage the African National Congress. Though these, we believe, are issues that are of interest to the ANC, but the working class must be at the center of them. Firstly, we said, comrades, we really need to wage a visible militant campaign on national health insurance. If we don't wage a visible campaign, we're in trouble. The bourgeoisie in the health sector has started mobilizing. Even some of our progressive professionals are being mobilized today to say the national health insurance is going to kill the health system in South Africa. And they are lying. What they are scared of is that they want to continue with a health system that is only benefiting the rich. We do need a visible campaign coming out of this Congress of Cosatu. Let's see Cosatu working together with them, struggling for an NHI. With Nehau, Denosa, and who else? Sepao from a pharmaceutical angle in the forefront, and the rest of us going in there. We need to pull together a front of organizations to fight for a NHI. We have also taken a decision that we wanted to put before Cosatu. That, comrades, it's high time that we seriously take up the problems at local government level in our country. And there are many of them. Some. Some. The SACP wants to say to you, we want you stronger and more united, Maqabane. I must say I was saddened, President, the day I watched on television a service for those firemen who perished at Johannesburg. And I couldn't see Cosatu Nzimande. I got worried, I must say. We want you united. We will work with you, comrades, as SAMU, because you are crucial. We are not going to transform a local government if we have got a weak and a divided SAMU. But that must be a struggle that must be taken up by the entirety of Cosatu. This distance between our people and those who have got responsibility at local government level is something that we have to deal with, and many other challenges that we have. Another very big campaign that we need to take up is that of building an affordable, accessible, safe, reliable, and integrated public transport system that properly services the working class. Yazi deploy as Minister of Transport, my biggest frustration, I'm not feeling a power of organized workers in the sector. You can't allow this metro rail that makes workers to be so late every day. Cosatu must take up this campaign, work together with government. We address the issue of safe and affordable transport for the working class in this country. All modes of transport. Now, I then also want to touch on a matter, President, which sometimes now gets misinterpreted and wants to be used to the issue of our roads and road networks in this country, which is something that, including Mongameli, e-tolls. I want to say this. We have agreed with, because the SACP position on e-tolls is simple, is that the model of e-tolls that was followed was wrong. If we were to start afresh today, we would have to do this thing very differently. That's the position of the SACP. Now, the issue that we have to tackle together as the alliance, maybe I may say this, that as a deployee, as a minister, I'm willing to engage with Cosatu the moment you finish this Congress on this question. How do we fund our road networks in South Africa? This is the most critical question. How do we fund our public road networks? Do you raise the fuel levy? Do you take the money from the fiscus? Do you use what we call user pay? That is the issue that we are faced with now. The fact of the matter is that Cosatu may not like e-tolls, and many other South Africans. The fact of the matter is, these beautiful highways, Gauteng, must be funded.
Well, this morning,